With us is Brendan P. Keegan. He's chairman and CEO of Merchants Fleet. He's going to tell us all about this platform.
One of the first things we have to accept is we have to accept failure. We have to accept that, things aren't always going to work out.
And here's an insider's brief about the bFearless platform, which aims to empower the leaders of tomorrow. And we're going to get a laser focus on making fearless leadership possible for everyone. We're going to do that by learning how to remove fear, uncertainty, and doubt in yourself. And as you know, everybody, it's really all about the mindset. You know that. You hear it all the time. It's about the mindset. It's what you believe. It's how you do it. But I have the question for you. How do you really dig in and clear all that out? Well, with us is Brendan P. Keegan. He's chairman and CEO of Merchants Fleet. He's going to tell us all about this platform. Hi, Brendan. Welcome to the show.
All right, Tony, thanks for having me on today. I'm really excited to chat with your audience. I think it's going to be a great time.
Thank you. I'm glad to do this because I want to do a little bit more than just a superficial, oh yeah, it's just all about mindset. I really want to, we hear that and we hear disruption all the time. Oh, it's, just disrupt the industries. So can you get it more simple for us so that we can build a better business or career? Can you tell us some of your top tips on this?
Yeah. So, a few top tips are, one of the models that I have and I breathe into companies and people I work with is, to have the courage to fail and the faith to succeed. So one of the first things we have to accept is we have to accept failure. We have to accept that, things aren't always going to work out. And when we're so focused on everything always working out, that actually holds us back from trying new things. And, one example that I like to talk about is, a kid jumping on a skateboard, ready to take off. And unintentionally, the kid's got no fear, by the way. Unintentionally, the parent says, hey, get your elbow pads, your knee pads, get your helmet. And the kid's like, oh, I didn't even think of falling. But so as parents, well-intentioned, we're starting to introduce fear, again, well-intentioned, into our kids. But if you see a kid grab a skateboard or go downhill skiing for the first time or something, they aren't thinking just naturally of what bad things can happen. Now, as we go through life and we see bad things happen and we see failures and we fall and we skin our knees in our careers, that analogy, then all of a sudden we pull back from the, well, if I fail, I'm not going to be seen. So the first thing you got to do is just got to accept, hey, if I'm trying to perform at my best, failure is going to happen.
As soon as you said that, I started thinking of all the years as a child when I was a paper route boy delivering papers. And for a good number of years, I had a bike. Nobody ever told me any rules of the road. I didn't have a helmet, and I'm not trying to preach to anybody here. It was just deliver the papers. You go out and you deliver 100 papers or whatever it was. And there was never an issue, there was never a problem because we had common sense. But today that fear factor has really gone in a bit much. And I'm not trying to swing the opposite way, but you got to be a little bit uninhibited, if I could say. And what interests me is you have a movement on this, the bFearless movement. Is this part of that? It sounds like it.
It really is, and it really became more. It was sort of something that I preached when I led organizations and when I consulted, and I did a lot of leadership academies at colleges, talking to student athletes and student leaders. And then after COVID, I saw that during COVID, this accelerated. It accelerated because naturally you had a pandemic. Now people were afraid to sit in a room with somebody else. We almost became more fearful as a result. And by the way, that was natural. And that's what really had me say, like, I saw companies say, we shouldn't try that now. And it's like, if anything, you need to try more things now than you needed pre-pandemic. Because if you aren't trying new things, odds are you aren't going to have as good a performance as you had last year. So at a time when we needed to be our most innovative, where we needed to try things and be most willing to fail, we were pulling back more than we ever were. So that really accelerated it for me. And that's the time when, I published a few books, one being the FUD Factor, how do you face fear, uncertainty, and doubt? And, I've had a chance to go out and talk to a lot of people about it. But, it's first just embracing that it's there, accepting it, but then, instilling the courage and faith that you're going to be successful. And also pulling from people around you and making it contagious in organizations. And, we have great examples of companies where it's contagious. You look at, the Amazons of the world, the eBays as they started. You look at Tesla as it started, now, it's stumbling a little bit. But those companies, if they didn't embrace innovation and disruption and really have the willingness to fail, they never would have done what they've been able to do.
It is so true. And I really want to dive more into it or drill down more into this. And there's three factors. There's fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And by the way, it revolves, or not revolves, but it's part of your new book called the FUD Factor, or the FUD Factor. Can we tear this apart? Maybe they sound similar, but they're different. Let's try fear.
Yeah.
Let's kind of let our hair down on this.
Yeah. So fear is like you don't want to do something. You're just sort of like, I'm not going to, like, for instance, I'm scared of heights. I'm not going to jump out of a plane. Okay. Uncertainty is you're going to do something. It's just not certain. So, that's like, okay, you're a project manager at the company and you're like, hey, I'm just not sure if we're going to get this project in on time or not. So you're kind of second guessing yourself. And then doubt is when you actually start to come up with, why are we not going to be able to do it? So you're like, this project isn't going to come in on time because our developers are behind, because, the requirements aren't correct. And you start to come up with the reasons. But, fear is you're not going to go to the edge of the diving board. You're just not even going to go on the diving board. Uncertainty is you're at the end of the diving board and you want to jump in. You just can't get yourself to, but and by the way, once you do, you're fine. And then doubt is you start coming up with all the reasons why, if you go to the edge of the diving board, what if it's not deep? What if it's not this? What if somebody's in there? What if I jump on somebody? So they're similar, but they're different. And, the first is you got to first overcome your fear. Like, I have to overcome my fear of heights to even get in the plane and go up, and I don't know if I could do that. So I've never tried it. By the way, I might try it, get up in the air and then say, okay, now it's really uncertainty because now I'm okay with it. But I can't get past fear on that one. Other things, you're able to get past, the diving board example, the project management example. So they're similar, but different. And we, by the way, we all have these naturally in the course of a day. It's what do we do with them? And you talked about mindset on the front end. And we all know people that somehow just, like, oh, they're so lucky. They got this, they got that. I'd be willing to bet if you sat down and talked to them, they had the fear, they had the uncertainty, they had the doubt, but they had the faith in themselves that, hey, if I fail, I'm going to be okay. That example, if you see a young kid, he goes out on a skateboard and he falls, they don't take the skateboard and put it away. They just view it as, I just fell. I'm just going to move on. And we got to kind of channel our inner child using that last example.
Absolutely. Brendan, does your book, The FUD Factor, does it act like a coach or a mentor to walk a person through, or does the person have to do the work himself? And I ask this for a very specific and particular purpose. I know a number of young adults, no name calling here. Some have a degree, sit at home on the couch, don't even drive. I know others has a degree, has a couple books out. Take a look at Matthew Kenslow, one of the recent shows I've done, just phenomenal. Yet they're both very similar age. One has the more odds against him than the other. And I know a lot of these younger adults, and I'm not picking on the young people, I'm just throwing up an example. And I'm wondering if they get the book, does it walk them through? Can they go, oh, I'm afraid to go to work, or I'm afraid to leave my TV set, or whatever it is. I'm just kind of seeing if this is the help that would help inspire and motivate and get this person to do something with their life.
What I'd say is, if overcoming your fear, uncertainty, and doubt were like a 5-step program, this would be step 1. It's not going to lay out, chapter by chapter, do these 5 things each day. What it's going to do is I give lots of examples of real life people that have been business leaders all the way through high school kids that have accomplished things, but they tell the story where they were really scared. And but you see, wow. So somebody, you can identify with people in the book. You can identify with a high school kid that wants to play college lacrosse. You can identify with a VP of a company that's the youngest VP, and all of a sudden they're like, how do I compete with people that are 20 years older than me, or how do I get people that are 20 years older than me to listen to me? And then you've got somebody taking over as CEO of a company for the first time. So I've tried to give examples so every reader can identify with somebody throughout, but it's not necessarily an instruction. It's not all 5 steps, but the first step is you actually have to understand what is holding you back. Why is that one person on the couch, and why aren't they, on their laptop, looking for a job on LinkedIn? Why aren't they networking? Why aren't they, taking a college course? Why aren't they doing something other than being on the couch? So it kind of is that first step. But then, you also, one thing I talk about in the book is you've got to get yourself in the right environment and get yourself around the right people that can bring that out in you. If you're, guilty by association, if you're hanging out with a group of people that's all sitting on the proverbial couch, then that's going to be tough to break from, versus if you surround yourself with people that are facing their fear, facing their uncertainty, facing their doubt, and are plowing through it, odds are you're going to go along with them. So, we're also a product of our environment, what friends we hang out with, our family, also the companies we work for. And certain companies just teach you how to be fearless, just quite frankly, because that's how the company culture is.
I like that a lot, Brendan, because we cannot get to success if we have those factors holding us down. And here, your book makes people aware of that, as I understand it, and gets them open to handling that, because you can't move on with those factors in place, with those self-imposed barriers, or perhaps imposed by others. However, whoever puts them there, you can't get past that without otherwise to success.
Correct.
So I really like that a lot. And I presume your book is available everywhere where books are sold, such as Amazon.
Yeah, Amazon, Barnes and Noble. It's on Audible. It's audio. It's a hardcover book. However you choose to read and focus, or listen for that matter, it's out there.
Brendan, what's your website if someone wants to just find out more about you and get a little bit more familiar with the book as well? Where would our listeners go for more information?
They can just go to, I have a personal website, Brendan P. Keegan, BRENDANP, Keegan, KEGN. I got my phone number and email on there. Feel free to reach out. I do a lot of mentoring sessions. I was actually with a junior from University of Chicago last night who reached out on LinkedIn, asked if I had 30 minutes to help network with her. So I'm always willing to spend time with people that are trying to find their best self and overcome their fear, uncertainty, and doubt.
I like that. I'm from Chicago, by the way. I went to Lane Tech High School out there. All right. So your website is Brendan, BRENDAN, the letter P, Keegan, KEEGAN.com.
Correct.
All right. Sounds great. Well, Brendan, thank you so much and I'm looking forward to finding out more about your book and what you do as well. And I think it's great. I just want to thank you so much.